made a significant impact. It's now utilizing in 19 countries by thousands of individuals and has become an official partner of the UN Sustainable Development in 2019. Patrick will share his insight on micro-credentials in our event. Let's welcome Patrick Chun and learn from his skills. Please, Patrick.
Well, thank you so much, Insha, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm here talking to you from Vancouver, Canada. That's where we are headquartered with the IITTI World Civility Index. And you may say, what is this World Civility Index? The idea really is somewhat similar to a person's personal financial credit rating. So if you need to go and get a car loan or get a house mortgage, you need to have this financial credit rating. But the World Civility Index measure not how much a person can pay his bills, but how much manners a person has, how much empathy and intercultural awareness, what most people call soft skills. So we collectively group everything into calling soft skills. And how would people earn points? They can read an article or watch a video or attending webinars like this, and they can earn points. And these points can be shown to human resource managers for a young person or to schools, and they can get the credit for attending and continuously learning soft skills. And for companies, the benefit really is that think about from the poor human resource manager. He or she may have a position that they want to fill within a company, but there are hundreds of resumes coming in. And if any of those students or the applicants have attended your training programs, the human resource manager have very little idea what your program actually contain. And they have no idea the length of it, the scope of it, and so on. So what do most human resource managers do? They ignore it. Something that they cannot find out. They have hundreds of resumes. They cannot do something like that. But one thing is possible is if you give them a single number, something like the World Civility Index, they can all understand somewhat to the first order about what this is all about. So to help you as educator, the fragmentation is deadly. You need to think about how we can consolidate and converge into a credentialing system that most human resource managers, in fact, all human resource managers can use around the world. The millions of human resource managers are your big challenge as well as your opportunity. In that your program, it could be very excellent, but if human resource managers have no way of understanding and find out about the scope, the length, and so on easily, that becomes a lost cause. That becomes a failure in communication for a young person to have gone through your program and yet unable to get recognition from future employers. So what we're trying to do here, my job is really to link up between excellent training programs like what you're doing with Global Peace Let's Talk, and link it with the millions of human resource managers around the world, regardless what country they're from, to have a single credentialing number that a student can have. Your students may actually go through your program as well as fellow Global Peace Let's Talk program. They can go through all of them and earn points accordingly. So they can accumulate those in a coherent one package format in that regard. So that's the nutshell of what the World Civility Index can do for you as educators in that regard. So my presentation is very short. It's less than less than 5 minutes, but that's the basic idea. Now, of course, I would love to hear your concern and your questions and so on. And later on, through this development, jointly with Global Peace Let's Talk, we can go into the logistics, what you can expect, what I would expect you to provide, and how we can go forward with that. The main second point is, and to be my last point before I open the floor for questions. The second point is funding. Many good projects obviously would want to have funding for something like this. And this is an opportunity because if it is a micro-credentialing program, a lot of universities, well, at least here in North America, in Canada, in the US, and so on, they have the understanding of something like a university extension program, university micro-credentialing program. And that is not their faculty's proper curriculum that earns credit, but the extensions or programs are for busy professionals, young graduates who wants to have extra credentialing so that they can be more competitive in the market and so on. So university extensions is what we are looking for. And so when you create a program, that is no doubt takes a lot of work. But unfortunately, I tell you, the marketing is the second part, and that is just as hard, is how do you get the audience to understand, not just only your students, but how can you help the students to go further in that regard. And universities are a good way. Other organizations like maybe something like NGOs and so on that can help in that regard. They can host your program. You can give them your micro-credentialing package so that they can conceptually have a link on their website and then charge students for something like this. And then the fundings can help you in being sustainable in your project that you're working on. And so we're helping everybody, the universities, the nonprofits, and also the students and your project. They can all benefit from something like this. Universities are, for example, their career centers are looking for something like this, where they can help their students in a big way, so that it's not only the technical skills that the university students will possess when they go into the market, but they will also have your skills, nonviolence communication, all the other important soft skills that they can continue to learn in a very big way, not just one program, but lifelong learning, so that is a recurring market, if you may, in terms of the business speak, is you can continuously design other programs. So this micro-credentialing program is a living program. It's not just, oh, you build it once and then you can forget about it. Yes, you can do that, but there are also opportunity for lifelong learning, which many universities are pushing right now. And with AI and robots coming in, this is perhaps the most important thing that you can help with the young person, is that not only would they be learning about their own engineering, the finance, or whatever undergraduate or graduate program they are in, but they also get a wider view to look at 360s and projects they can join, things that they can do to impress future employers. The other thing is employers are, well, this is point number 2.5, I guess, is something called ESG. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. So this is part of what they call the corporate social responsibility. You got to think about it from a company's point of view. In the old days, if you have a company, you have to do well. You have to make money. So you have to financial report, a good-looking balance sheet, and so on. Nowadays, you also need to have an ESG report. They are just as important. ESG report, the environmental, social, and governance report, is important because for many companies, they need to impress their investors. They need to impress their stakeholders, their customers. If you are Nike, you cannot just say, I'm building sneakers. You have to show that you are environmentally friendly, you are socially responsible, and you have good internal governance, the ESG. So for Nike or any other company, I shouldn't just pick on Nike or use Nike. If you are Nike and you go out and build an orphanage, does it mean that you are fulfilling your social responsibility? How do you show it? How do you prove it? So those are difficult questions. And the naysayers, the critical people are saying, oh, well, you're just embellishing it or you're just lying. They don't believe you. So how do you prove something like this? How do you prove you have good human capital development? And that's what we're all doing here at Global Peace Let's Talk. Would a company like Nike prove that they have done good human capital development? Developing people within the companies, developing people in universities, in their communities, and so on. Well, that's where you come in. Your program could work wonders in something like this. So again, I'm trying to link up between your program not only with universities, but also with companies, with businesses around the world where they need the ESG report. Now, how did that comes about? The World Civility Index, what we're doing, what I'm doing here now is give them numbers, a single number for company average. The employees all do the reading, all do watching videos or attending seminars, they earn points and so on. I can give them an average for the company. So there's a company average World Civility Index. And that is worth gold for them because it is from us in Canada. We are neutral, we're independent. That number worth gold because it's not generated internally by their own people, which have very little credibility in this cynical world. But if it is from a third party, independent, and UN sustainability recognized, well, that means something. So this is where we can add value to the whole system. And I'm only the container. I need the education excellence from your program. You are the educator in that. So we're all together. We're in this big wheel, good wheel, and we're all different cogs of it, and we're all pushing the same way. So there's this sense of togetherness that we can give young people. So at the end of the day, this is a message of hope for young people to go forward because now we can link between your program through the World Civility Index to the universities so that they can help the students and also to companies which they need desperately because they need something credible to put into their ESG report so that their stock prices can be maintained, their investors, and they're also customers who can understand that the company, for example, again, Nike, is really, really a good corporate citizen. So those are the main points of why this is something that could be very, very effective, especially with collaboration with the Global Peace Let's Talk. So thank you so much. I'll pass it back to Insha and fielding questions and discussions.
The floor is open for questions. If you want to ask Patrick any question, kindly go ahead. Any questions?
Nusrat, I want to ask one question.
Sure, please go ahead, Dr. Shamnas.
Dr. Patrick Chun, I myself is a soft skill teacher. I have taught soft skill in engineering college as well as in diploma college. What I feel is there is a drastic change in student these days. And as you were discussing earlier, nowadays students, they don't want to interact. So if they they are only means they only interact on social media, not in real sense. So this is also something which is affecting soft skill also. They are not as confident as they were student early, means. And one more important thing is that they are lacking in common sense. uh, do you
Mm.
feel the same in your part of the world?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think well, there are a lot of young people that we work with. IITTI, we work with many different universities, and so we get to talk to a lot of young people at the university age, for example. And many of them are very conscientious. They get a lot of information, but like what myself and Burkhard was talking about, they may not know how to sift through what are the real news and what are just manipulations, for example. And I think through your programs, for example, nonviolence, they can understand why, for example, this kind of soft skills are important. And it's not a one-time thing. We find that it's very difficult to change a person's view in a very short period of time. But if you give it time, a long period of time, and a little bit of information, a little bit of lessons here and there, like the micro credentialing program is proposing, those mini lessons can work wonders over time, but it would be a long-term process. So those are kind of opportunities. That's why I said it's a lifelong learning. And if you're a trainer and educator, it is actually good for business because you have a lot of work in front of you. That's for sure. Thank you so much.
We are
One thing I
next.
want to add, like I belong to Insha, just insight.
Go ahead, Dr. Shaminash.
Nuzat, just
Go
an
ahead.
insight.
G, go ahead.
Hmm. Patrick, Patrick
Hi.
sir, actually, I belong to a small town. So here the case is different. People are more interactive toward each other, even student are. But that is not the case with the students in big cities, metro cities. There, I found the students are more like zombies. They are not so much, they are not into interaction. They don't want, they are not interested in social gathering. They're just interested in their electronic gadgets.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing. Hi, can I please?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
I
Sure,
have
Mr.
studied
Bhagat.
in I have studied in a university. I was living in a boarding university. So I've lived there for around 10 years. It's a huge campus. We used to live in the campus. It's almost more than 11 kilometers. The campus is more than 11 kilometers square kilometers. So there are a lot of hostels, the boarding halls, what we call, just like we have in Oxford. It's the same pattern. So when we were students residing in those hostels, we suppose I had to see someone or wanted to meet someone. I traveled almost a kilometer or a two searching for that person because in those days we didn't have any mobile phones. So it was from one spot to another, and then from another spot to another till I finally found that person to whom I wanted to meet or to whom I want to talk to. So we had a pattern of living, like you know how the hostels are, how boys live in the hostels. Some time back, it's the last year I went to the same campus just for a visit. I found everything was same. The hostel rooms, how messy they were, exactly like how boys live. The clothes thrown around, the books on the shelves or the tables, everything was there. There were different seater rooms, like 3-seater, 4-seater, or 2-seater. They were all boys staying in the hostel room, but nobody was talking to each other. Nobody talked to each other, and all of them were engrossed in their mobile phones. The same is the case with, like, we used to go to the tea stalls. There are huge tea stalls around, and when we sat on those together on those tea stalls, we gathered. The discussions were vast. We discussed sports, we discussed politics, we discussed university politics, we discussed the state politics, national politics, or the international politics. Afterwards, we also discussed how elections are going on around in the campus. How is it going, about the issues we are facing? So it was a huge discussion that would take us hours, like let's say 2 to 3 hours, and a meeting would last for 3 to 4 hours. And all the boys, let's say if the number is 25 or 20 or 30 boys, who would sit together, and everybody participated in that discussion very keenly, and very, like I should say, everybody had an acumen of discussing and putting up his point. I'm sure the same must have been in the girls' hostel, because we never visited the girls' hostel inside. We didn't know exactly how they live, but I'm sure it must have been the same. So, like last time I told you, last time I went and I found, even in the hostel rooms, I found everything same. The rooms, how we used to decorate the rooms with posters or whatever, and then how the books were thrown or on the tables, and how the clothes were. And even on the tea stalls, when I went on the tea stalls, I just sat there for around an hour. The boys were the same, the groups were the same, everybody sitting together, but nobody talking to each other. Just because every person I found there, he was engrossed in his mobile phone.
Mhm.
So that's the case. This is one of the major reasons that we may lack. And do you feel? I think you feel the same, that we lack that potential to debate, or that potential to discuss.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad you bring this up. We're very fortunate at IITTI. We belong to a group that has been started by the Harvard University, Harvard, Stockholm, Lund, and other university, called Inner Development Goals (IDG), and they're a big group out there. 30,000 members around the world, and so on. And there's a lot of collaboration, and they have identified future careers of the post-labor AI dominated world. There are careers, and one of them is called the Praxis, Praxis, Praxis. And this kind of new career are people exactly like that. They go into dorm rooms and so on, and they try to get the students to talk to one another, having potluck dinners, parties, face-to-face interaction, your neighborhood, and so on. So those are the new careers that they are actually right now some very powerful people around the world talking to governments, saying that these are the new jobs. They will not go away because AI is here. In fact, they will be more important. So a praxis is almost like a social worker, a historian. Why historian? They need to know people's background. In Canada, we are multicultural, multi-ethnic. So you go into a campus or company, you can find people from all around the world. That is the background. So a praxis would need to have some historical background, intercultural awareness, all that kind of soft skills. And who are going to train them? You'll be people like you in this group here. And this is the opportunity where you can set up something like this, and they can all earn points, something that, like I said, the human resource managers can understand in that regard. So thank you for bringing that up, Gao Hurt. I think this is a very wonderful case of understanding why young people are, marketing people do want, the divide and conquer. They want everybody to be looking like this, just looking at their product, nothing else. So don't talk to anybody, ignore your parents, be disrespectful, but just buy our product. In that sense, that's the psychology they want to cultivate. But we are swinging against the current and say, no, go out and meet people, shake hands, and look people in the eye. Those are all skills that are lost. Young people don't return your emails. They don't even look at emails. They look at the text message. So those are issues that we need to solve.
There is one more thing. Can I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
In our earlier days, in our younger days, when we were young, we were kids. So we used to visit our relatives, like let's say not that occasionally, but even if it's once a month. So like let's say I go to my aunt's house unannounced, uninformed, uninvited. So in that case, that meeting was valued, and it was actually a surprise for them as well. And the surprise factor turned out to be more like it made it more cordial and warm, rather than me calling my aunt now and asking where she is and I'm coming.
Yeah, surprise is definitely a good thing. This kind of conversation, this dialogue you and I and other people have in this conversation could constitute a very good webinar. And we invite students to join them, something like this, to listen to us older folks into sharing our experiences before the Gen Z kind of culture and so on. And all the young people here, they can scan a QR code and earn points. So that could be just 1 point of World Civility Index. And think about the amount of wisdom you collectively here can provide to the world through Global Peace Let's Talk as the container. This can be something that we can really help the world in getting better in that regard. We're mending social fabric in some sense.
Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Patrick.
Thank you so much, Gohar.
Thank you so much, Gaur Saab. Thank you so much. He was very much right that kids nowadays don't want to talk to each other. Even kids in my family, they don't like to talk each other. Just focus on their mobile phones and that's it. So there is another participant wants to ask a question, Max Sibanda. So please go ahead. Mac,
Thank
unmute
you so much.
yourself. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very grateful to hear about the ESG, which translates to corporate social responsibility. My question is, how can we leverage on the ESG, especially as non-profit organizations? And part B, how can we also instill the culture of ESG in companies, especially where there is a lot of maybe exploitation of be it minerals or forests, because we realize that some of the communities, they are left empty-handed, especially maybe if there's some environmental impacts. For example, if there's mining. I'm in Zimbabwe actually, and there's a lot of mining maybe from the Chinese community, where we feel that there should be some environmental impact assessments. So we really don't know that this process, is it bypassed? At the same time, for example, if there is a mine, the surrounding community, maybe after being displaced or taken to other reserves, we always feel that they should also have some essential services that could be provided through corporate social responsibility. So I would love to hear some insights on how we can leverage on this and bring this subject to our companies here back. Thank you.
Yeah. I think one thing we need to be very careful is we don't walk into a trap, because there are very political and sensitive issues regarding environmental and so on. There's the local villagers and so on. One thing the World Civility Index and the Global Peace Let's Talk can contribute is to bring awareness as to all the issues, even the dirty information, like what Burkhard and I was talking about, so that people are aware that there are all these kind of issues. It's a complex issues in most cases. There's no single binary right or wrong answer in many cases, but there are optimum issues so that everybody can feel like a winner walking out, for example. So it's to bring awareness through your education program to either the local indigenous people, to university students, or better yet, to all the employees of the company who needs to write the ESG. Now, I'll tell you why there are people who are really gung-ho, really enthusiastic about ESG, but there are also people who are saying ESG is the worst thing that could happen in life. And they're both right. ESG, if you use it incorrectly, they are just an instruments for self-advertising for a company. But people see through that, and that's why the word greenwashing is, a company is embellishing, exaggerating, or downright lie, and that's why ESG is having a bad name. Now, United Nations are thinking that something like ESG is the way to save the world, because you need to get companies to converge and do the right thing for the environment and so on, for the social impact, for the governance, the E, S, and Gs. But if companies and the opponent are saying that ESG is not useful, it is dead on arrival. You don't get. But now you see the hope is most stock exchanges around the world mandated that all companies listed within their stock exchange need to have an ESG report. It's becoming compulsory in many jurisdictions. I think in Shenzhen, China, where most of the iPhone are being produced right now, I think this year the Shenzhen Stock Exchange is mandating all the companies listed on the Shenzhen Stock Exchange to have an ESG report. And that's why your opportunity is your training program, if it is marketed correctly, communicated correctly, not only universities would welcome it, but a lot of companies, big companies, would welcome something like this, because this is something that they can shout and yell as on the top of their lungs and say they're the good guys. But unless somebody who actually can come in an independent way to say that, okay, these are your score, they won't have the credibility. So the World Stability Index can help do that. But of course, it helps. It needs your participation as education, as the lessons, the curriculum, the content. I can generate. We don't do that at IITTI. We do zero training. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
Anyone else who wants to say something or ask any question from Patrick? Is there anyone who want to ask any question or comment? What do you learn from his presentation? Anyone who wants
Okay,
to?
maybe the last one now. I would like to hear
Sure, please go ahead.
if there's an opportunity. For example, we are a non-profit organization here in Zimbabwe, but we also work with universities. How can we cascade this kind of awareness to universities? Is there sort of maybe a curriculum or a module that could be designed with some basic information, or which could conscientize on the importance of corporate social responsibility? Any opportunity for that? Maybe even to design some leaflets or some info packs that could be disseminated.
Yes, definitely. If you have your favorite university that you want to work with, for example, these kind of communication, like we were just talking about here within the last hour, would be something that maybe they have never come across before. But that is something that is your opportunity to help the universities to have these kind of micro-credentialing program. It's very simple. In fact, the university would just put a link to the Global Peace Let's Talk certain page that would include your education program. and your education program would go through a Global Peace Let's Talk vetting process. So Global Peace Let's Talk will need to maintain a certain quality, certain criteria that the IITTI group, my group, can collaborate with Global Peace Let's Talk. And so your training program would go through this vetting, and then it would decide how many points your program would afford your students. And those are the things that universities can add on as their extension program, as their lifelong learning program, as their micro-credentialing program. It's the same idea. It's something that is extra on top of their regular programming, on top of their regular curriculum that they earn the university credit. But this will earn the World Civility Index credit, universal credit that human resource people from companies can understand. So in a way, we're helping university communicate with companies in that those extension programs are worth so many points that the companies can understand in that regard. Yes, so the opportunity is there, and all I need from you is you design the best educational program to get your message across in short chunks, maybe a 2-minute videos. That would be one program, or 1,000-word article to talk about your message. So nice, short and sweet. Young people don't have a lot of patience, if I may say. So mini programs, micro programs, micro lessons to earn micro credentialing.
Elizabeth
I-
want to ask
can
a
I-
question, I think. No,
Yes. Greetings, everyone. This is Elizabeth. I have a question. Does World Civility have tools, or do you help people who are interested in such programs in designing the educational programs? Is there a possibility?
Yes and no. We do have people who are very capable, but that's not our mandate. We don't design curriculum. We vet it. We judge how good your program is. And then we say, okay, your program, because it's 1 day long, it will be worth 5 points, 5 World Civility Index points. That means at the end of the day, when your program is being used by students and they've gone through your process, they can earn 5 World Civility Index points that they can show to human resource people.
Okay.
Mr. Burkhardt, if you want to say something, you can please go ahead.
Yeah, just loud thinking. Patrick, you are right. I agree with you. We have to meet the people, not just students. We have to meet the people where they are. So they are in the digital world. And this is positive and negative same time. It is the internet is not negative, but when you use it wrong, it became negative. And so how to get the students in the internet to say stop internet? So, or not stop internet, but reduce internet. And so there is something needed. There are some, as you said before, they don't want to read too much. It needs to be visible. It needs a short video, maybe funny video to explain what they are missing when they are just watching on their mobile phone instead of talking to the people around. And to bring them laughing, to understand their mistake, not in a way where they lose their face. So, and I think this is very important. So we need the internet to get these people, to get the students.
Yeah.
How to do so?
Well, I think this is the perfect platform, the Global Peace Let's Talk nonprofit, and also with your respective nonprofit and so on. one thing comes into mind is credibility. Young people are smart. Like my two daughters, they're really smart. And I'm saying, wow, how did you know that? At their age, I didn't know. So they would be able to sift through and say, well, okay, Global Peace Let's Talk is legitimate. It has been around for a long time. All the people they associate with are legitimate and so on. That gives them more incentive to follow this channel, if you may, if I may use that word. And it's a slow process. I'll tell you a little bit of a story. There's a chap by the name of Richard Thaler, Professor Richard Thaler from University of Chicago. He's a behavioral economist, and what he said is, you can't change culture just by giving a 3-hour business ethics lecture. People would just forget it after 3 weeks. They go back to the old self. But if you put in little nuggets of information here and there at strategically located time and place, people do change. That you can change culture in a big way, but it's a long-term process. So you cannot have it fast and easy. It has to be long-term, short duration. That means maybe micro lessons. That's why. And the third thing is it has to be frequent. And that's where the World Civility Index points comes in. You know, if they can earn points over time and they see their points increasing, it's a game. So it becomes it's what they call gamification. It becomes a game they can play, and the human resource people can understand something like that, so they can use those points for something, for jobs and so on. So those are the incentive. The World Civility Index is almost like an incentive program to rope them in so that little by little they can change the behavior. Oh, by the way, Professor Richard Thaler won the Nobel Prize for his work called the nudge theory. So you nudge people just a little bit by little bit every day, and you can change culture in a very big way. So these are very proven academic theories in that. And in my line of work, I've seen actually young people changing quite a bit over the years. It's not days, not weeks, not even months, but years. So when we talk to university, we said university is a great location because they have 4 years of uninterrupted attention where they can slowly hone their skills to be more people-centric rather than device-centric in that regard.
There are 2 questions in the chat box, so I will read and you can answer, Mr. Patrick.
Okay.
One question is from Rose Oba. She is saying that this thank you, Patrick. This information session has been inspiring and touching. How can we mainstream this in peace building process as well? And the other question is,
what was the question again? I didn't hear it very clearly.
how can we mainstream this in peace building process?
How can we mainstream this? Did I hear it correctly?
This in peace building process, like micro credential.
Okay.
She's asking about.
Yeah. IITTI, my team worked closely with Global Peace Let's Talk for many years. So the idea, the concept is fairly clear with many of the Global Peace Let's Talk people. The challenge is in the marketing. So we all need to put in our work in doing the marketing. And eventually there's a revenue sharing, proceed sharing, so that the funding can make it sustainable eventually for the marketing group, the communication group, and the education group as well. So each get a piece of the pie, if you may, so that it becomes sustainable. That's the main idea. And your job really is to create the best micro lessons, the videos, the articles, and so on. Cut to the chase, just get to the point as to what you're doing, and those will be the lessons that Global Peace Let's Talk can put into a package, digital package, and then the marketing and the communication team can talk to the universities through your connections and so on, invariably it's about connections. You have your network, and with so many people here I see, that has a network effect. You think, oh, well, this is not going to work. Nobody's going to know what I'm doing. Nobody knows Global Peace Let's Talk. But if there are 5 or 10 of us doing something like this, and we all say something on social media and so on, it becomes quite a force to be reckoned with in that sense. So it's the network effect. At the beginning, there will be nothing, and then all of a sudden you see a big uptake. And that's where we can work on. Right now, the World Civility Index are being used by universities, banks, and insurance companies, and so on in many different parts of the world. But still, of course, it's still a drop in the bucket because the world is a big place. But good thing is we have been recognized by the United Nations Sustainable Development, the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, DESA. So that's a good thing. We're also part of what I mentioned before, the IDG, the Harvard University's Inner Development Goals, and they wrote a book chapter about the World Civility Index, so on and so forth. So we are getting the traction we want to see. So working with Global Peace Let's Talk, that is to take it up the next notch, because Global Peace Let's Talk have a lot of wonderful educators like yourself in that regard. And if we all do a little part of it, and having the Global Peace Let's Talk as the sounding board, as a collection central, then we're talking about something that can really work very well. And students, for example, in Zimbabwe or something, they pay a nominal fee, very low.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you so much for your engaging, insightful presentation. Thank you so much. Now I will request Rose Oba for the closing remarks. Please, Rose, go ahead. Rose, can you hear me? Rosaline, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Please say a few words about the session.
Okay.
Let me mention you, she is the executive committee member of Global Peace Let's Talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your expert facilitation and moderation of this first premier event organized by the Global Peace Let's Talk. And as we come close to today's session, I wish to, on behalf of the Global Peace Let's Talk, to extend our heartfelt appreciation to Patrick Chun for such an insightful and inspiring presentation. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing your vision, your leadership, and the meaningful work behind the World Civility Index. And like we always have been working with you within the Global Peace Let's Talk, your passion for building a more peaceful and respectful global society truly resonates with us all. And many of us in this session have actually been testimonies to it with the feedback we've received during this inspiring session. And a sincere thanks to all who have contributed through thoughtful questions and valuable feedback. Your engagement made this discussion richer and more impactful. So, and to all our attendees, to all our members, and to all those we invited for this event, thank you for taking our time to be with us today and for your commitment to education, to leadership, and to global citizenship. And so as we move forward, we look ahead with optimism towards stronger partnerships, because we cannot forget Patrick Chun in the Global Peace Let's Talk, because he's also one of the executive members and partners to this renowned network. And we also envisage empowered students through this World Civility Index program and responsible leadership across communities worldwide. Once again, thank you all for being part of this meaningful conversation. And And we want to be so grateful to you, Insha, for organizing this first event, and equally to the technical team, Norman, Joseph, and of course, we want to also acknowledge some of our executive members like Dr. Shimenez for being part of this event. We wish you a wonderful rest of the day, the night, and wherever or whenever you are attending this event of today. And with that, we now formally conclude this event, and I'll hand back the microphones to Insha to totally say a goodbye. So we wish you a happy new year and a prosperous one at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone, for giving us time and attending the session. And thank you so much, Dr. Sheminaz, for attending Rose Oba. And especially thank you so much, Patrick Chun. You did a great session. Thank you so much. And have a great day, great time. Thank you. Good. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
bye, bye,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.